In this Blender tutorial, I am going to explain about the Bevel modifier in detail. I already made a video about the array modifier. The playlist link in the description. You can check it. I am going to take this default cube as an example. By selecting the default cube, go to modifier, add modifier, and then generate, bring the Bevel modifier. The Bevel modifier will bevel the edges of the mesh. To simply say in a short way, it will add some support loop cuts. By increasing the amount value, it will increase the width between the support loop cuts. And if I increase the segments, it will add more number of loop cuts. And then there is another one thing. Whenever you are increasing the segments number, just keep it as a even number, because there is a reason behind that. I will take this annotate tool. Now I change my segments number to an odd number. Normally a face should have 4 vertex. If a face has a 4 vertex, then that is called as a n-gon. If a face has more than 4 vertex, that will be called as a quads. I seen so many Blender experts tutorial, they always say whenever you start 3D modeling, keep your faces in a 4 vertex, that will be good for geometry. Likewise, if you see for this face also, I have 4 vertex here, 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 here. But in here, if you see, I have 3 vertex, that means it is not a n-gon. So that's why I'm saying keep it as a even number. If I increase my segments to 4, even for this face also I have a 4 vertex. It doesn't look like a square, but even I have a 4 vertex. So that is the importance. So like I said, whenever you are increasing the segments value, keep it as a even number. And in the width type, I have some of the different options. Now I will explain about that. For that, first press 7 in the number to go into top view. Then I'm going to reduce my segments up to 1. Then I will go into wireframe mode. The offset means the distance from the new edge to the original edge. If I click this option, it will disable my Bevel modifier. You can clearly see it is my original edge, or we can say a vertex also in here. After bevel my object, now this will be my new edge. So this distance will be the offset. With the same amount value, I'm going to change this to width. Now we can clearly see we have some changes. I have the same amount value only. The width means the distance between two edges formed by the bevel. So this will be the width, and I'm going to change this to depth. The depth means value in the perpendicular distance from the new bevel edge to the original edge. This is our original and this is our bevel. So this distance will be the depth. And there is another option, is called percent. If you give 10% or 20% based on the percentage value, it will bevel. And finally we have absolute option. Absolute is nothing but it is same as the offset. In width type we have so many different options, but if you hear my opinion, I will say leave it as a default to offset, because I never seen one Blender tutorial they use width type as a width or depth or percentage, because if it change to width or depth, it will be a slightly different. I will recommend you to leave it as a default width type as offset, but if you need, you can change it. And the next thing is we are going to see about a limit method. Now my angle value is 30, that means it won't bevel below the 30-degree angle. If you see, this edge is a 90-degree, so it will take the value from the 31. I will disable my bevel modifier. See, this edge is 90-degree. I'm going to change my angle value to 89. It won't be any changes. If I type 90, then it won't be bevel. The default value will be 30. If you need, you can change the angle value. The next option will be weight. Weight is nothing but we are going to tell bevel modifier which edge you should bevel. So in edit mode, I'm going to select this edge, then press Ctrl E and then click edge bevel weight and just drag it to add a weight. By increasing the amount value, it will start to bevel the edge which I had added a weight only. The same process goes to the vertex group, but I have to reduce my amount because a slight amount changes will affect vertex group even more. In edit mode, I'm going to select these two edges and then go to the object data properties and then click plus. It will create a new vertex group. Then by click assign, these two edges will assign to this vertex group. Then go to modifier. In the vertex group, just select the groups. Now it just bevel those two we have just added to the vertex group. By increasing the amount value, increase the width distance between the support loops. The width and vertex group process are nearly same. I'm going to change my limit method to angle. After that we have a profile. I'm going to reduce my amount value, and then now we are going to see about the profile option. In profile option we have two options, super ellipse, custom. Shape is nothing but in here we can clearly see by increasing the segment I have a round shape here, but if I change my shape to 1, it won't be a circle curve, it will come outwards. If I change my shape value to 0, it will go inwards. So by increasing or decreasing the shape value, we can change the bevel edges like this, outwards or inwards. The default will be 0.50, and I'm going to change to a custom. Custom is nothing but it looks like a graph. By just left click here, it will create a dot. By changing the graph, you will get some interesting design here. If you don't like it, you can just click this arrow mark and then just reset the curve. In preset we have different option. I'm going to tell you the interesting thing. First, change the limit method to weight, because I just need this vertex to bevel. After that, just increase the amount value value to bevel, and then increase the segments, change the preset to steps. See, now we have a nice steps graph. Also the design looks like a steps. Now we are easily created a stairs. Once again I will tell first what we are going to do. First select this edge and then we have to bevel it, then change the preset to steps. After that, just by changing the segments value, we will have a stairs. Or I can change the option to support loops. I click and drag this value, I will get a different result here. So like I said, you can try all the options here, but for now I'm going to change this to super ellipse, and then option will be a angle. I'm going to reduce my amount value, and the next option is geometry. For geometry, before that I'm going to edit modes like this space, insert it, and then extrude it. Now I will zoom in here. I'm going to reduce my segments value. In here I have a face with a 4 vertex, but it doesn't look like a square. It has a different shape. I don't like that, so I'm going to change my emitter outer to arc. See, now I have a nice face here, so I will recommend always change the emitter outer to arc. If I change this to patch, it will have a border here, but if I change this to arc, it won't have a border. It will be a curve like this. So I will recommend you to always use the arc. After that, if you change the geometry inner to arc, we will have a different type of design here, but I will recommend you to just stay with the sharp. If you change the spread value, it will just change the size of these bevel edges. So I will always recommend you to keep this option in a sharp and change this option to arc. The intersection option will be in grid fill. If you change the grid fill to cut off, then it will cut off those corner beveled edges. So if I change this to grid fill, it will fill with faces. The next option will be clamp overlap. I'm going to disable it so you can understand what the process is doing. By increasing the amount value, it will start to get overlap. We can clearly see it. If I enable it, it won't overlap. By increasing the amount, if we try to overlap, it will just stop it here because of the clamp overlap option is enabled. After that, you can disable the loop slide option, and then in shading, by enable the harden normals, it will just smooth our object. Definitely, I think you guys know, by selecting the object, right click, we have shade auto smooth. So the same process will be the harden normals. Right click and shade auto smooth, we have a line here, we can clearly see it. But if I by enable the harden normals, we don't have that, and we have some nice smooth. So if you need, you can enable the harden normals. And then we have a mark seam and mark sharp option. The mark seam is nothing but if a seam edge crosses a non-seam one and you bevel all of them, this option will maintain the expected propagation of seam. But you won't use this option so much often, so you can just leave it. After that, we have a material indexer option. To use this option, we have to create a materials. So I go into material preview, and then in material properties, I'm going to change this to green color because my favorite is green and black. First will be a green, and then click plus to add a new material slot. I'm going to change the base color to green color because my favorite color is black and green. Then click the plus to add a new material slot, and then click new. I'm going to change this color as a yellow. After that, click plus to add a new material slot, and then click new. I'm going to change this to black, and then click plus, click new, change this color to as a violet. You can give any color you need. Remember one thing, the first material will be a 0, the second material will be 1, and then third material will be 2, and then fourth material will be 3. So go to the modifier. If I change my material index to 0, it will be a green. If the material index is 1, the beveled edges will be changed the material color based on the material index what we are giving. Like I said, the green color will be 0 because the first material will be 0, the second material will be 1. If I give the material index value 3, then my beveled edges will have a violet color. See, I'm going to change my material index to 3. You can use this material index whenever you want. Finally, we have a face strength option. I exactly don't know what the process is doing. When I read the Blender documentation, it said whenever we are using the weight and normals, that time we should enable the face influence, and then if we change the face strength, we can see the changes. I tried it, I didn't see the so much changes, and I don't know what the process is exactly it is doing. So if any of you know about the face strength process, you can just comment it so I can know about that. Now I'm going to tell you the shortcut key for the bevel modifier and for the super ellipse also and overlap also. First, I'm going to remove it by select this face, press Ctrl plus to increase the selection, and then delete the face, then select these edges, F2 fill. Still I have edge bevel weight, I have to remove it by selecting this edge, press Ctrl E, and then click edge bevel weight, then press -1 in numpad, it will remove it. Then you can select the edges, which edges you want. I'm going to select every edges. The shortcut key to bevel is press Ctrl B to bevel. After that, you have a pop-up menu. In the pop-up menu, we have the same option. There is another one thing I have to tell. We have a vertex option here. Vertex is nothing but it will just bevel the vertex. The option is in edge, it will just bevel the edge. We have the same option which we have seen in the bevel modifier. We have a width type, and then we have amount, that is the width, and then by increasing the segments, it will increase the number of loop cuts, and the shape will be the inwards and then outwards. After that, the material index, we know about that, harden normals. inwards, and then clap overlap will be it won't overlap our bevel edges. You can disable the loop slide, and we know about the mark seam and short, and then we have seen the meter outer, and then we have this option and the intersect type also. Now press Ctrl B, you can bevel, then scroll your mouse wheel to increase the number of loop cuts like this. And if you want to reduce the number of loop cuts, just scroll your mouse in backwards. By scroll your mouse inwards, it will increase the number of loop cuts. By scrolling backwards, it will decrease the number of loop cuts. If you try to bevel more at a point, it get overlap. To stop the overlap, just press C, it will stop the overlap. See, if I try to bevel more, it will just stop by pressing C, and then just by pressing P, it will make my edges sharp in outwards, or it will go in inwards. This is a shortcut key just by pressing P. That's all for this video. I hope you learned something new about the bevel modifier.